Here rotates.
After the 1,000 page mark. After 1,000 pages.
It's good.
Going from the back of the Bible, it goes Revelation, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, 1st, 2nd Peter, Jude, Jude's in there, and then James.
This after Hebrews.
After Hebrews.
19.
James chapter 1, verse 13. There.
I've been there.
Okay, and remember, no one who wants to do wrong should ever say, God is tempting me. So if any of you feel like you're going to do something wrong, it's not because of God, all right? God is not tempting you. God is never tempted to do wrong, and he never tempts anyone else either. Temptation comes from the lure of our own evil desires. These evil desires lead to actions, and evil actions lead to death. That's a heavy word. Everyone say heavy.
Heavy.
Heavy word. So temptation is not from God. Temptation is from inside of you, what is already lurking in there. So when I stole that book fair book, it's not because God was like, Andrew, you should take those books. It's because in my heart, I really wanted to take those books. And what happened? I eventually just took them. And we need to understand this, because the fishing pole is going to help us to understand temptation. Now, who can tell me what temptation leads to? Look at that. What? To death. All right, so when I stole that book, I was tempted to steal the book. Did I die? No. If you cheat on a math test, are you going to die? No. However, I think Paul is talking about something else. He doesn't mean like you're physically going to go, I just stole that book. No. Another way we can think of this word is misery. Does anybody know what misery is? You were shaking your head like you do. What's misery?
It's like when we feel ashamed of when we did something.
When you feel shamed. What else is misery? What does it mean to be miserable?
Not happy. Like you're out of your comfort zone.
Out of your comfort zone. You just don't feel like, do you really feel alive? Do you feel like life is good? No. And so we can say, giving into temptation will make you miserable. And God does not want us to live a miserable life. He wants us to live an abundant life. Full life. Okay? A life full of joy. Now, I told you about this fishing pole. And there's something you need to understand about this fishing pole. I'm going to put something on here.
How about another donut?
This thing, I don't know if you all are surprised by this, but do fish want to get caught?
No.
No. And the reason fish get caught is because they don't understand how a fishing pole works. Now, we understand how a fishing pole works, which is why we use it. What we do is we put bait on the hook. And the bait disguises the hook. Now, who here wants to try and eat this gummy worm? Put the whole thing in your mouth.
Will it hurt our face?
No, I'm not really going to do it. There's a hook.
If it hurts our face, I won't do it. But if it doesn't hurt my face,
There's a hook in this worm. It's a gummy worm. But if I put that in your mouth and pulled it, yeah, it would hurt.
It would rip your
Now
mouth.
that you know there's an actual hook, do you really want to eat this? No, because you understand what the hook's supposed to do.
I'll have one separate from the hook.
You can have one separate. Now, does a fish know there's a hook in the worm?
No.
That's why the fish gets hooked, because we're smarter and we put a hook in there, we throw it out there, and boom, we take it. Now with temptation, every temptation has a hook. Okay? At first, it looks nice. It looks like this gummy worm, and Hayden was about to go for it. But she didn't know about the hook. There was a real hook in there, and it's rusted. So that makes it even worse. Every temptation has a hook, and when you decide to nibble on that temptation, you're going to get hooked, and it's going to lead to a life of misery. All right? Now, there is hope. You might have done wrong, and you might have given in, and you might have been hooked by this gummy worm. But that does not mean that God does not love you, okay? God will always love you. And God will provide you a way out. Next week, we're going to talk about ways that we can get out of temptation. But this week, we need to recognize what is that hook. Some of you are tempted by different things. Actually, all of you are tempted. But some of you are tempted by this. You might be tempted by what you see. Some of you might be tempted by what you smell and you want to take the food, the yummies. You might be tempted when you go into the store and you see all these little trinkets and you don't have any money. You're like, that fits right in my pocket. Just like I was tempted at the book fair. But we want to help you to fight that temptation. All right? And so part of that is recognizing what the enemy is doing. Recognizing that that gummy worm is on a hook. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break up. Matt and Will, you're going to take the boys.